Hi, Dr. Heidi here. Today we're going to be looking into eye accessing cues. It was William James in the 1890s that actually identified that while he was thinking about certain things, his eyes would move in different directions. So he was starting to get an idea of, could this mean anything? So he started asking other people questions or observing their eye movements while they were involved in dialogue. And sure enough, he found, and it's been substantiated by a few NLPers, including Robert Dilts, and now more of the psychological and cognitive therapy sides, that really and truly, when our eyes move, we're accessing information in our mind. In fact, what they found is that when our eyes move up, this is the visual realm, and we're starting to identify and access information that we have stored visually. When our eyes move laterally to the sides of our ears, that is auditory. When they're moving down and to my left or your right as you're looking at me, then that's into internal dialogue or self-talk, and the other side down and to my right or your left is kinesthetic or feelings. Now, there also is an aspect of where we construct information or remember information from as well. To me, being able to watch somebody's eyes move and find out where they're storing information from, that helps me to ask better questions, and it helps me to direct a conversation. Not lead a conversation, but direct a conversation based on what's going on inside of someone's mind. For example, if somebody says, look, I just can't do that, then I could actually ask them a question about what is it that they're seeing, or what do they remember about that? What visions do they remember, or memories do they recall? Or if they're going up into the other side, which is construct, what are you creating? What movies are you sharing with yourself? Or over here, what are you telling yourself? Or what are you hearing about that? So it gives me an insight into where we store information. I like to think about the eye accessing cues as basically a storehouse, a warehouse for our memories. So our unconscious mind brings information into our model of the world, and if you've watched my video on representational systems, then we identified that we're bringing in information and we're storing that then using the eye patterns. So we're bringing in information with a certain representational system that we have, and we're discussing and communicating utilizing that as well. And that would be our learning, our communication style. Eye accessing cues are very different than that. This is simply where we're storing the information. So it's like a 3-story warehouse. All the vision is put up here, auditory is put here, kinesthetic and internal dialogue are put down into the lower corners of our mind. Again, when we can identify where somebody has stored information, we can access it a little bit differently, we can ask questions about it, we can even move information around by having somebody look in a different direction. Have you ever, for example, been speaking to somebody and they cry and they don't want to be crying, or maybe you've gotten a little bit teary yourself and you don't want to be? What do you normally do? I'll show you. I'm getting a little bit teary and I look up and then we do this. I really have no idea what that's about, but for some reason that seems to help the tears go away as well. But mainly why this works, why looking up works, is down here's where we're storing emotions and thoughts, up here is visuals. So it's harder, it's not impossible, because we do a synesthesia sometimes, where we feel something we see, or we see something we feel. But most of the time where we're going to is just where we're accessing information from. And if somebody looks up, it's very hard to access the kinesthetic feelings. If you're asking somebody to daydream or come up with some ideas or brainstorm, and they're down here in internal dialogue, it's probably hard to brainstorm, because brainstorm is a dreaming effect, which actually works in the vision center of our mind. So something to play with, something to pay attention to, and if you haven't yet learned NLP, something to learn.